Scarred by another assassination ahead of presidential elections, Lebanon is in turmoil again. Will Parliament choose a new head of state, or will the country plunge further into chaos? This is Inside Story. Hello, I'm Jane Dutton. It's said to be locked in its worst political crisis for years. So what does the future hold for Lebanon? Lawmakers were due to meet on Tuesday to elect a new president, but that's now been thrown into doubt and disarray. The vote to replace pro-Syrian head of state Emil Lahoud comes less than a week after the assassination of MP Antoine Ghanem in a car bomb. He was the 8th member of the anti-Syrian majority to be targeted since the murder of former Prime Minister Rafik al-Hariri in 2005. Now, Syria denies any involvement in the killings. The opposition has threatened to boycott Tuesday's vote and deny Parliament a two-thirds majority, thus blocking the election process. In return, the Western-backed government coalition has threatened to go ahead and choose a new president from within its own ranks, simply using its own slim majority. Now, the vote has to take place in Parliament between September the 25th and November the 24th, when Emil Lahoud's term ends. The president, who has to be a Maronite Christian, is elected for a 6-year term by secret ballot and by a two-thirds majority of the Parliament, or 85 MPs of the current 127-member House. After a first ballot, a simple majority, or 64 MPs, is sufficient. In the event a new president is not elected during the first session, the Parliament Speaker can convene the legislature for a second meeting to hold a new election. If the Parliament Speaker fails to call a second session, Parliament meets automatically on the 10th day before the President's term of office expires. That is November the 14th. Now, should the post of head of state be left vacant, presidential powers are automatically transferred to the government. Joining our discussion today, our guests in Beirut, Fares Bouez, an independent politician and former Minister of Foreign Affairs. He resigned in 2004 over the constitutional amendment to extend Lahoud's term. Alain Aoun, spokesperson for the Free Patriotic Movement. And I'll start with you, Mr. Aoun. Will your MPs be attending the vote?
Well, as far as no political consensus has been reached and no talks has been made between the opposition and the government forces, we don't expect to attend the session on Tuesday, hoping that these talks will take place before the next session that will be decided after this Tuesday.
Now, your boss, Michel Aoun, is in the running for president. How will this impact his chances?
Well, we believe that any president should come as somebody who will, after an agreement between the two camps, and he should be the guarantor of the solution between for this political crisis. So anyway, we don't believe in unilateral decisions on unilateral elections. We believe that this election should be an opportunity for taking the country out of this crisis, and we hope that the talks that will be held will lead to this outcome.
Mr. Bouez, are you looking at a compromise candidate here?
I don't know, really. I don't think that anybody can say that he is a compromise candidate before he will be adopted by the two parties as a compromise or consensual president. Now, I think that the actual reality of the ground and the actual balanced situation of the two parties is making impossible to see any of these two parties really deciding alone. I think that only a consensual president can be elected if we really want a president who can unify the country and who can really establish order and peace in Lebanon.
Okay, what is going to break this deadlock? Mr. Owen said that his MPs will not be attending the meeting on Tuesday. The ruling party needs a two-thirds majority for the quorum, which clearly they're not going to get. So will they push for a slim majority?
You know, constitutionally, there are two steps. First of all, you have the quorum. So the quorum to decide if the session is open or not, you need a quorum of the two-thirds. Now, after that, you have to start with the election procedure. In the election procedure, on the first round, you will need also the two-thirds, and on the second and after, you will the majority will be enough. Now, unless the two-thirds of the members of the parliament are present in the parliament, there can be no elections. And so it is why I think that on the 25th, I don't think that till now there will be these two-thirds, because there is no consensus, there is no agreement between them on the name of this president. And I think that this meeting will not legally happen, or will not be considered as a constitutional meeting.
Okay, Mr. Owen, Nabi Berry, the parliamentary speaker, is having crisis meetings as we speak ahead of the meeting on Tuesday. What is it that he's going to be saying to get everybody to the table in time?
Well, I guess the failure of electing a president on Tuesday should be an incentive for all parties to sit and talk and see where, if they can reach an agreement and if they can reach a consensus. It is then when these talks fail that we have to see what can we do, or these talks will lead to a certain agreement that will secure the election in the next session after the Tuesday one. So Mr. Berry will try, as he said in his initiative, to talk with all the parliamentary blocs that are present in the parliament and try to see how we can reach a common, how we can find a common ground between these parties and lead to this consensus that everybody is expecting. And this is what he will try to do.
Now, Mr. Bouez, you resigned when Emil Lahoud was re-elected for an extended presidency, so I can imagine that you're not sad to see him go.
Excuse
Sorry,
me.
I'm not hearing you.
You resigned when Emil Lahoud's presidency was extended, so I can assume that you're not sad to see him go.
Look, I voted in the Council of Ministers in the Parliament against this amendment, and I refused it even in the Council of Ministers, because I thought at this time that this will create all these problems we lived during the last 3 years. And so now it's normal to think that the end of this prolonged mandate will open the way to the election of a new president, which will be able to unify the people, to unify the institutions, and to push or to start a national dialogue between all the main parties in this country concerning the main subjects. Now, I think that historically, Lebanon was always built on a consensual democracy, and I'm not seeing how a president from one side in a challenged way can be elected. I think that more than ever now, because of this balanced situation between the two parties, where we don't know exactly where is the majority. We don't know. I don't think that anybody at this time can say where is the majority. I think that the two parties are nearly equal, and that the majority will be of one vote or two votes maximum, and we don't know if this one or two votes are going to be from this side or the other. So I think that the only way, first, to have a president and to have a president which can rule the country, is to have a consensus for this president. And this
Mr. Owen, excuse me interrupting there. What is it that your party would like to see? What is it that the opposition needs to see to push this forward? Because we know that Hezbollah is saying that it's going to take some sort of action if it doesn't get their man or woman into the job.
Well, what we would like to see is a solution. We are not seeking a confrontation with the government forces. We are seeking a solution for this crisis. We don't want what happened in 2005 when this political system was built in an unbalanced way because of a false electoral law and generated. This was one of the roots of this crisis that we are living today, and other political issues that were not solved at that time. We don't want 2007 to be a rehearsal of this 2005. We want it to be a start of solution and to get out Lebanon from this crisis and to reach some kind of stability. So we genuinely seek a solution with the other camp. Now the problem is that this requires the two parties to have the will in order to start this process of reconciliation and of bringing the country together again. And this should be starting from the presidency. The presidency should answer the problems that led to the crisis that we are living today. Otherwise, it will be just a crisis management and a prolongation of this crisis that we are living today, let alone if we reach a confrontation, which will be a disaster for the country.
OK, let's take a short break now. But when we come back, we discuss the scenarios in Lebanon if no president is elected soon. Stay with us.